Hello and welcome in my Top Watch channel. Today we will list the top 10 series on Netflix. We've prepared a list of the greatest new action, adventure, sci-fi and fantasy shows that you should watch right now. Also, don't forget to leave a comment on how many of these series you've seen from this list. Now let's start the video. Number 10. Money Heist. Set in Madrid, a mysterious man known as the Professor recruits a group of 8 people, who choose city names as their aliases, to carry out an ambitious plan that involves entering the Royal Mint of Spain, and escaping with EU 984 million. After taking 67 people hostage inside the mint, the team plans to remain inside for 11 days to print the money as they deal with elite police forces. In the events following the initial heist, the group's members are forced out of hiding and prepare for a second heist, with some additional members, this time aiming to escape with gold from the Bank of Spain, as they again deal with hostages and police forces. Number 9. Lucifer. The series focuses on Lucifer Morningstar, a handsome and powerful angel who was cast out of heaven for his rebellion. As the devil, Lucifer tires of the millennia he spent being the Lord of Hell, punishing people. Becoming increasingly bored and unhappy with his life in hell, he abdicates his throne in defiance of his father, God, and abandons his kingdom for Los Angeles, where he runs his own nightclub called Lux. When he finds himself involved in a murder investigation, he meets the intriguing detective Chloe Decker. After helping the Los Angeles Police Department, LAPD, solve the case by using his power to manipulate humans into revealing their deepest desires, Lucifer accepts a subsequent invitation to work with Chloe as a consultant to the department. And throughout the series, they encounter all sorts of supernatural beings while solving crimes together and developing their relationship. Number 8. Narcos. Narcos is an American television series created by Chris Brancato, Carlo Bernard, and Doug Miro, directed by Jose Padilla and released on August 28, 2015 on Netflix. Set in Colombia, it features the search for Pablo Escobar and the entire Medellin cartel by the DEA and especially the agents, the main characters Javier Pena and Steve Murphy. In the late 1970s, the United States and Colombia embarked on a bitter battle against the Medellin drug cartel. Young DEA agent Steve Murphy and Javier Pena do his best to bring down Pablo Escobar and his men, despite the massive police corruption that plagues Colombia. This struggle is intertwined with the United States' struggle against communism and with many other political interests. Number 7. Vikings. Vikings is inspired by the sagas of Ragnar Lodbrok, a Viking who is one of the best-known legendary Norse heroes and notorious as the scourge of Anglo-Saxon England and West Francia. The show portrays Ragnar as a farmer who rises to fame by raiding England and eventually becomes a Scandinavian king, with the support of his family and fellow warriors. In the later seasons, the series follows the fortunes of his sons and their adventures in England, Scandinavia, Kievan Rus, the Mediterranean and North America. Number 6. Better Call Saul. James McGill is a former con man who became a lawyer under the influence of his brother Charles McGill. Faced with the difficulties of starting his career as a lawyer, Jimmy decides to resort to methods similar to those he used during his hateful past, particularly those that earned him the nickname Jimmy Truckster and Quat. It will only exacerbate his personal conflict with Chuck and escalate him to the point of no return. They will also lead him to associate with the criminal world, in particular the world of drug trafficking, including in particular other characters present or mentioned in the Breaking Bad series, Mike Ehrmantraut, Jonathan Banks, Nacho Varga, Michael Mondo. Number 5. Breaking Bad. This series revolves around the character of Walter White, a low-paid teacher, who suffers from frustration, especially after he is diagnosed with lung cancer in the 3rd stage. Because of these circumstances surrounding Walter, he decides to turn to a life of crime, along with one of his former students, Jesse Pinkman, who works on the production and distribution of crystallized methamphetamine, as a type of drug, and Walter and his student enter the world of crime. Walter and Jesse start making only small batches of the drug, and soon they expand production, as they manufacture large batches, creating huge demand for the substance they manufacture. Walter takes the name Heisenberg to conceal his identity from many, and because of his drug-related activities, Walter finds himself at odds with many people including his family, the DEA and local gangs, and their regional distributors. Number 4. Blacklist. The series, which is mainly set in Washington, tells the story of a former U.S. Navy officer, Raymond Red Reddington, who disappeared 20 years earlier to become one of the 10 most wanted fugitives in the world. FBI and a top criminal, dubbed the crime mediator and Quat, Reddington voluntarily surrenders to the FBI at his headquarters. However, he insists on working exclusively with a young profiler recently recruited by the FBI, Elizabeth Keene. The mysteries of Reddington and Liz's lives, as well as his interest in her, are gradually revealed as the series evolves. Each episode features one of the world's criminals and Reddington helps the team track and apprehend them. Number 3. Dark. This series revolves around 4 basic families. All of these families are linked together in a complex family history. Due to time travel, however, its subject may become more complex. The events begin with Mikkel's disappearance on November 4, 2019, when the latter, at the age of 11, accompanies his 2 older brothers, Magnus and Martha, as well as their friends Jannik Canwald, Bartosz Tiedman, and Franziska Doppler. They all go out to the caves in the Wenden forests in Germany. There, a strange terrifying sound occurs, everyone flees from the place, and Mikkel disappears. Later, it is known that the latter has gone back in time, to the year 1986 AD, their NS Canwald adopts him, and gives him the name Michael. He becomes the latter as friends with Hannah, and later marries her, later having children, Jonas. In the year 2019, Michael, formerly Mikkel, is 43 years old, hangs himself, and leaves a suicide note, after recommending that it not be opened before a certain date, which is precisely the date of Michael's disappearance. Besides. Number 2. Chernobyl. Chernobyl is a 2019 historical drama television miniseries that revolves around the Chernobyl disaster of 1986 and the cleanup efforts that followed. Chernobyl dramatizes the story of the April 1986 nuclear plant disaster which occurred in the Ukrainian Soviet Socialist Republic, Soviet Union, telling the stories of the people who were involved in the disaster and those who responded to it. The series depicts some of the lesser-known stories of the disaster, including the efforts of the firefighters who were the first responders on the scene, volunteers, and teams of miners who dug a critical tunnel under Reactor 4. Number 1. Peaky Blinders. Based on the story of the Peaky Blinders gang, active at the end of the 19th century, this series follows a group of Birmingham gangsters from 1919. This gang, led by the ambitious and dangerous Thomas Shelby and made up of his siblings, practices racketeering, protection, smuggling of alcohol and tobacco and illegal betting, a theft of automatic weapons, of which they are the first suspects, pushes Winston Churchill to dispatch Chief Inspector Chester Campbell, an officer of the Royal Irish Police, who takes with him certain expeditious methods. That's it for today. Thank you for watching this video. Can do subscribe our channel to see more videos related to series and movie suggestions.